When I do something difficult, I often say to myself, I'm the bravest girl in the world. Going to a stupid doctor's appointment to get a wart frozen off, tackling my to-do list, or staying out past 9 p.m. Anything bad or unpleasant or not fun, I'm simply the bravest girl in the world. When you do something as a joke, your brain can't tell the difference between sarcasm and sincerity. The signals your brain gets are the same either way. So somehow, being the bravest girl in the world became a little mantra for me. I have been medicated for generalized anxiety for my entire adult life, and I've been in therapy to treat it for just as long. Which means I call on my bravest girl in the world mantra way more than I'd like to admit, even for small things like asking a new friend to meet for coffee. I try to live a life where I'm open to new things, but my default mode is terrified, uncomfortable, and uneasy. Sometimes it feels like my entire waking life is just a constant battle with my anxiety, trying to figure out which fears are rational and which ones are just in my mind. If I've learned anything about living with anxiety, it's that fighting it doesn't really work. Telling yourself that your fears are just in your head will just make you feel worse. And for me, at least, it's been better to just accept that the anxiety is there and try to do the thing, even though it feels like my stomach is about to fall out of my butt. I'm no mental health professional, but I found that spending some time thinking about where the anxiety comes from and being like, okay, cool, thanks for the warning, I've got it from here, is the way to move through it. And I think that's why my bravest girl in the world mantra works. Because it acknowledges that I'm scared, that there's a threat somewhere that I'm feeling, no matter how big or real it actually is. And it's saying, okay, we're scared, we're gonna do it anyway. But sometimes your anxiety layers an irrational fear on top of a very legitimate fear. And it becomes harder to tell the difference between what's real and what isn't. And that makes the whole process of living with and tuning out your anxiety more complicated. Welcome to Try Hard. I'm Alex Sujong Laughlin. In every episode of this podcast, I'm talking to someone about something they've always wanted to do, but haven't. Yet. First, we're digging into why they want to do it and what's been getting in the way. And then we're setting a challenge. They're going to spend a few weeks prepping, and then we check in afterward to see how it goes. Our first ever guest is trying to figure out how to coexist with her anxiety, the rational and the irrational.
I'm Mattie Lubchansky, and I'm a tryhard.
Mattie is a cartoonist and illustrator who hates exercising in front of people, but she's also a little yoga curious.
So my challenge was to go to a single fitness class, specifically a yoga class at the studio in my neighborhood, without running out screaming and crying.
Huge.
Yeah, enormous. I hate being observed when I'm exercising. My main form of exercise is I go to a climbing gym, which I really like doing, but I go at like 9:30 in the morning when I am straight up the only person in an enormous gym, like really, truly, 30,000 square feet to myself. Mm-hmm. It's just me and the people who work there. And they don't really watch because they know. But like, I'm there alone. And that's really important to me. And the idea of like a class is so scary.
Why do you think that is?
That's a really good, I've been really thinking about that a lot. And I think it's just like, I am, for many reasons, both related to my identity as a trans woman, but also like just like growing up in the 90s and just like my body image is really bad. And I just have a real hard time with like anyone seeing me doing something embarrassing, looking embarrassing, or I feel like everyone looks at me and is like, what's wrong with that fat girl? Or worse, maybe I don't even get that. And maybe it stems from just like, I was really, as a child, very uncoordinated and bad at sports. And when you are trying to perform being a little boy and you're bad at sports, it's really bad for your social life and your mental health. And just sort of like just having a really, really bad time as a child being forced to do sports and gym and stuff.
Yeah. Sports, especially in childhood and adolescence, can be so incredibly gendered.
Yeah.
There are like boy sports and girl sports. And then if there are sports where both boys and girls do them, there's a girl way to do them and a boy way to do them.
Yeah. And the boy way to do them, crucially, is good,
Yeah.
For a lot of things. And it's just like, well, if you're like slow or a little pudgy or uncoordinated, it's just like, well, you're doing this, so like you are a pariah. I went to a very sort of like straight up and down suburban school system that like feels like straight out of a movie, kind of, where like, like I was bullied for playing an instrument like that, straight up and down.
Wow.
Like
Getting a swirly in the toilet.
Yeah, like it was that kind of environment.
Hey,
and I
pip
think it's just...
squeak. Maybe let's just start. Like, can you tell me your history with yoga?
Sure. I mean, my history with yoga is pretty sparse. I work a job where I'm hunched over at a drawing tablet all day. I'm about to start drawing my 4th book. And it is famously, cartooning is a profession where your body breaks down extremely, very quickly. It's just horrible for you.
Wow.
I'm very inflexible. And I sit around all day and I'm just sort of like, I need to be stretching more. I'm turning 40 this year. So I'm like, I wanted to like get into a practice where I am stretching more. And my partner is really into yoga and she does it all the time. She goes to this studio in our neighborhood all the time. And like, I want to say like 3 years ago, I finally acquiesced and like went to a class with her and had like a nervous breakdown in there. And I really like emotionally could not handle it. And I wanted to be able to go back by myself so I could like start a practice that I think is good for my physical and mental health.
Can you tell me more about the breakdown?
Yeah, so it's like, the thing is about if you've never been in a yoga class or do any yoga, which is basically me, the thing is like if you can't do a pose, you're supposed to go into what is called child's pose. And basically what that is it looks like a person lying on the floor, defeated. It's like knees down, head down, arms down.
Butt up.
Butt up. It's that, or they say go into like an early Shavasana, which is the corpse pose, which is, you guessed it, lying flat on your back, staring at the ceiling. And like very early into the class, I was like, I can't do this. And then started flipping out and there's all these people around me and they're so good at it compared to me because they know what they're doing and they're in shape and they're mentally healthy and they've never had a problem in their lives. And I'm, mentally weak, physically weak, everything's wrong with me. And I'm just like sitting there lying down on my back, watching everyone around me be perfectly fine. And like, what's so funny about it is that like, I ended up coming back to like playing sports kind of recently too. And like, I go play softball, but like, I'm in like a queer league that's like, the women in trans division of like the gay softball league here in New York. And it's like a different experience, right? It's like a community thing. And I'm not the worst person there by any, I'm pretty bad, but I'm not the worst. And that's all I need. But I feel like these classes are so small and unpersonalized. Like no one knows who I am. And it's just like, I just think everyone's staring at me, which is like a fear I carry around a lot in my day-to-day life.
What does your anxiety think will happen in a group yoga class?
I was worried about like people in the class either staring or talking about me or whatever. And I was worried about the instructor like coming over and like harping on me being bad, Yeah. Like the instructor will come over and like adjust people sometimes, but like, I think they do that when you're pretty good and they want to make you better. Not when you are lying down, looking defeated, like I don't think they're like, oh, but I was worried the instructor was going to come over like every time and be like, oh, you're doing this completely wrong. And now everyone's going to look at you.
Yeah.
What are you doing in my class? Like you are wasting everyone's time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving through the world as a trans person, you sort of just, especially living in a big city, there's just a lot of like staring and commenting and like, and also like from like a safety perspective, I'm just always sort of like on high alert when I'm like riding the subway, whatever, especially recently. So I do this weird, like horrible fear of just being observed generally, because who knows how people are going to react, right? It's also like the yoga studio is a really sort of like, it's a very feminized space, especially like if you're like going to like a yoga studio in a gentrified neighborhood.
Everyone's got the matching sets.
Of course.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a lot of that going on. And just like, I never know when like a 6'1" trans lesbian walks in, how those girlies are going to react. Cause who knows? And most of the time, it was fine. Right. Like, but you never, I'm just I'm on high alert, and I'm just like wondering like, who's going to be staring at me? Like, who's going to be whispering, who's going to say something, whatever. And like, most of the time I don't give a shit about that. But like, I just don't want to be experiencing that in a space where I'm like trying to be vulnerable and like do something like yoga.
As a person with anxiety, there's a temptation to talk shit about your anxiety and be like, this is just my stupid brain coming up with all of these crazy reasons why I can't do something. And I don't know about you, but for me, one of the ways that I've learned to like live in coexistence with my anxiety a little more peacefully is like being like, yeah, there is a reason for these anxiety feelings. There's a reason for these thoughts. They are coming from a real place, and I can choose whether like that's applicable in this situation or not.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think a lot of my anxiety is rooted in real stuff that is real problems for me. But a lot of it is sort of just like I'm going to get a bad grade in yoga, which is not a thing that'll happen to me.
Yeah. Do you have any fond memories of like doing active things with people like from childhood?
Not particularly. It was always just like, I feel like I'm getting fed into the meat grinder. Yeah. It was just like, it was always just, I'm bad at this. Everybody's mad at me. You know, like it was bad for like relationships with like older male family members because they were all like, I was raised by a jock. You know, and I think it was just sort of, I don't know, like I just don't have any fond memories of doing any physical activities. And for a long time I was afraid of doing them in public at all. And I'm still working on that.
So why have you tried to do them? Like, you know, between rock climbing and now this yoga, like what is driving you to push yourself into those places now?
A friend of mine took me climbing once, and I really sort of like whatever part of my brain that's like, I like to solve puzzles, you know?
Yeah.
Rock climbing for that is really nice. And like, I feel very in touch with my body. Like it's actually a thing where like in both instances, there's a lot of trans people climb, and I don't really have a good theory on why. You know, there's probably a really good Defector article to be written about this, but like, I think it's because it is this very solo, like, it's just me and this problem, and I have to like be aware of like every point of my body to solve this thing. And it really does feel like the most like in touch with my sort of like physical self that I could possibly be, which is why. So I took to it really nicely, and then like, but I tried to go when there are other people at the gym, and I was like, well, I can't do this. So I started going at these crazy times. I don't go on the weekends. I don't go at night. They're always like, are you coming to, like member night at the gym to like meet other members? I'm like, absolutely not, you know?
You're not even climbing at member night, are you?
No, God, no. Well, I think maybe
there's like some bouldering or something.
Maybe, but like, I frankly don't care to find out. Yeah, like that aspect of it never was like big for me. And like softball, I just think it's really fun. And it's one of those things where like, you kind of can't stop thinking about anything but softball for the whole time you're playing. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I'll be playing a game. And I was like, wow, I haven't had a thought that wasn't about softball in 3 hours. And isn't that nice for me? A person with a horrible, I don't know if you've picked this up yet. I have a lot of anxiety. It's probably a shock the way I've been talking for the last 15 minutes. But it's like, it's really just a real balm for that for me. And yoga, yeah, it was just like, I feel like the same kind of calm, like when I was climbing, when I've like done a video or I've had my wife show me how to do stuff, like there is this sort of sense of like, I feel really in touch with my body in a way that is nice, that is rare for me. Mm-hmm. And also like, I would like to not be so stiff and die young.
Yeah. I mean, I am also an incredibly anxious person, and I have to say the like look up and I haven't thought about the thing I'm anxious about in 45 minutes is like one of the biggest draws to exercise, for sure.
Yeah.
So why are you doing this? Why did you want to take on this challenge?
Yeah, I mean, because it's like, I feel like it is a very irrational fear. Mm-hmm. It sounds a little insane when I try to describe it to people that like I can't take a class. You know, in the couple weeks leading up to trying this class the other day, I did a bunch of videos, and I found myself really, really liking them. And I felt like, oh, this is like a practice I want to carry into my life. I think generally, like it feels like something I want to get good at or better at, or like just incorporate into my life more seriously. And I feel like a class is good because I can go and get instruction, and like I can't see what I'm doing when I like lay out the yoga mat in my home office and watch a video with the YouTube woman that everyone loves.
Is it Yoga with Adrian?
Of course it is.
Oh my God.
Of course it is. She is really good at making the videos. I think she might be a sociopath. Is my feeling about her. I think the dog is staged. I think they send the dog in. Would it be a good part of the video for the dog to come?
Benji.
I'm a truther about this woman and her dog, but her videos are quite good and helpful, and I really enjoy doing them.
Here's a clip Mattie sent me from when she was practicing at home ahead of challenge day.
So a funny thing happened there where like half of it I was kind of in hell. But at one point I did look up and I realized it was like basically over already. It went by a lot faster than I thought it would. And I legitimately enjoy so much of like the practice of it. It did feel nice to do. It was like good exercise. I felt very connected to my body. I weirdly at the end, just like started sobbing, which is a thing that happens, I think sometimes to some people. Just a big weird release, you know, so I'm feeling a little better about going in terms of like, oh, I can physically do the thing. The idea of doing it in front of another person or, you know, 20 other people is still so scary to me.
What were the feelings that you were having?
Yeah, it was really just like, I thought that I'd been doing it for 5 minutes and it turned out it had been over half an hour. And I was just really sort of in the moment. And, you know, I think it's just been, personally, it's been like a hard couple of months. And it was just this sort of like, felt like I was taking care of myself in a way that was really nice. And then like at the end, I just like laid down and like closed my eyes and just like sifted all this shit out of my soul.
After the break, challenge day. Mattie finally braves the class. By the way, if you're feeling moved by the Try Hard spirit, I want to hear about it. Send me voice memos about the new things that you're trying at podcasts@defector.com, and I might play some on the show. You can also send me videos or tag me in your stories on Instagram at Alex Laughs. Okay, let's talk about the challenge day.
Yeah.
What did you do?
So I signed up for a class in the afternoon at the studio down the street from my house, hoping it wouldn't be too crowded.
How did you feel?
Pretty apprehensive.
Here's some more tape from challenge day.
I've been feeling really good at home, but I woke up this morning with fear in my heart because currently I am walking to go take, capital T, capital C, the class at the studio. And yeah, I am horrified. I'm just fully quivering in my fucking skin. It starts in about 12 minutes. We'll see how it goes.
Just cutting in here to say, I totally get this. In the last year alone, I've had a handful of experiences like this where I'm standing outside a door and trying to hype myself up to walk in to a new room, to do a new activity, to meet new people. And every part of my brain and body is screaming, telling me that I'm making a huge mistake and that I should just go home and pretend that this never happened. This is the part where it's so easy to talk yourself out of it. More than doing the thing itself, I think that getting past this moment of hesitation right before you do the thing is actually the biggest challenge. And Mattie almost didn't get past it.
A couple of days ago, I was like, what if I didn't do it? What if I quit? Like, what if I got really close? I started drafting the email. I was like,
God.
I'm backing out. Like,
Wow.
I'm glad I didn't, but like, I got really close
Wow.
to making your life miserable. I don't know if I should tell you that, but like, yeah, I was just really apprehensive in the lead up to it, but then the day of, I was just like, it should be okay. Like, I'll just get through it. Truly, what is the worst thing that could happen?
So, okay, what kind of class did you sign up for? Do you remember?
Hold on, I'm gonna pull up the actual email confirmation of I signed up for what it's called, the 2 p.m. class.
Oh, amazing.
It's just like the big open level class.
How many people were in this class?
I want to say like 15 or 16.
Okay, when you set up your mat, where did you set up in the room?
Oh,
Crucial question.
This was okay. So this was the one thing that I think made it even a little bit bearable.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll set the scene for you. So the studio is on the second floor of like a commercial building on like one of the big main drags in my neighborhood, but it's like a long, narrow space. And I think max the place probably holds 20 if it was like packed. And I got there and the mats were already set up, but I walked in right like 1 minute before the class started because I didn't know what the etiquette was. And I get there and there's like 2 mats left and one is at the very front next to the instructor in the middle of a bunch of people. And one is all the way in back against a wall. And I was like, well, that's me.
Beautiful.
That's where I go. Which means like literally unless we are facing the back of the classroom
Mm-hmm.
and unless the person next to me is doing stuff where she would face the right,
Mm-hmm.
nobody can see me. Like, what luck.
Yeah.
Because I think if I was like in the middle, I would have maybe pretended to go to the bathroom and left. And I'm not joking.
Wow.
Once it started, I was like, I'm so glad I'm back here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I could manage anywhere else.
Wait, so you were feeling okay walking there. You're like, I'm nervous, but like, what's
It'll
the
be okay,
worst
yeah.
that can happen? You show up, you get your spot, you're like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
At what point are you starting to feel like, what did I do?
That was about halfway through. You know, and at the beginning, the instructor, she's like, let's all, you know, if you have an intention to set for the day, do it now, whatever. And in my head, I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it whole hog.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to do the thing. I'm here. I'm trying it. Why not? Just fully immerse myself in the zone here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm setting the intention that I'm going to get through this the best that I can. I'm going to try really hard and I'm going to be kind to myself. And I mostly accomplished it, but like, you know, we were doing like the first half of it. I was just going along and I was like, and there's a couple of things where it's like a basic version and then like an advanced version.
Mm-hmm. They're like Pokemon.
Yeah. Like honestly, kind of, it'll
Yeah.
be like, oh, like be in this like forward fold. And if you feel like it, put your hands flat on the ground and put your head under your own butt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm not gonna do that, but like I can do the forward fold. No problem. But every time she was like, oh, hold this pose. If you want to take X pose, take it. If not, hold the pose. And I was always like, you know what? This is actually fine. Like, it's actually nice that it's constructed for people of multiple skill sets and abilities. And it's actually helping. And I feel great. And then, like, things started getting faster and faster and harder and harder.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh, I'm in hell. And I started to, like, not know some of the poses, you know, and I think... the instructor, I think, was doing a good job. Nobody else was having a hard time. But, like, a lot of it was just, like, you know, they start yelling out body parts like it's Twister.
Yes.
And they're just like, this there, like, hands down, feet up, like, hips side, swivel out, cactus arm. And I'm just kind of like, what are you saying?
At a certain point, it stops, like, it stops being something you can follow because there's this presumption that you know where they're going.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
And then I'm like looking around the room at other people, which feels like I'm not supposed to be doing that. Despite my fear that everyone's looking at me, they're all breaking the rule that I would never break. Looking at other people. And I'm like trying to like see the instructor, and sometimes she's doing the pose and sometimes she's not. So things are getting faster and harder. And like there was also a point right before it got way too hard where I was like, I'm doing it. I was like, I wonder if the class is almost over. Like, I think I did it pretty good. And then I started like losing the thread a little bit. And it just started getting so hard that like I took a flow off. Mm-hmm. And then I felt everyone around me just doing it no problem. And I could like see them. I'm like in child's pose. Like, I mean, like literally looking like I lost a tennis match, you know, while everyone around me is like jumping around. It was really humid the other day. It was raining. The studio was like hot and I'm sweating so much. And like, I'm pretty sweaty as a person. And I'm just like sweating way more than a person should be sweating. And I'm just like, this is just getting, I feel like I look gross and pathetic. And then I started sort of like getting all the bad thoughts. And then I would like try to get back into it. Be like, no. I got to like refocus on like the movement and my breath or whatever. And you know, I would get back into it and do a half a flow, and then I hit a move that I couldn't do again, and then it would be back into like the humiliation zone.
Dang, I'm really sorry.
It's really okay because like I made it to the end where I did more just like here's some stretches for the end, and I rejoined everybody there, and I could do things again, and then we did like, you know, the corpse pose stuff at the end where you just kind of lie there, and then I got out of there as fast as I could, and I bought a brownie and ate it on the way home, but like. But I mean, the good thing that came out of it is like, I got home and I was like, well, I don't think I'm done doing this thing. I still have this feeling that if I was good at it, I wouldn't have this problem. You know, like I think I actually got over the thing where I can't be in a room with people doing this. Nobody yelled at me. The instructor did not make fun of me. None of the really, really horrible stuff I thought was going to happen happened. Like, I don't think this is like a sad ending to my little story because it's like, I feel like, oh, I'm just going to like keep teaching myself until I feel more comfortable. And then I'll try going back in, you know, 6 months. But I do need to give myself some time, I think. But it was nice to like sort of expose myself to this thing. It was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It was only like 50% as bad as I thought it was going to be. Still kind of bad.
It was like, still hard.
Yeah, but like nobody like looked at me then whispered to their friend.
Yeah. Which
is the thing I'm always terrified of.
Did you notice anybody struggling in that class?
Here's the thing. No.
And I wasn't there. So I cannot say whether anybody was struggling or not. But I can tell you that I've done yoga for 15 years, and I don't think that I have ever made it through a class without doing a modification that was different from what the teacher said. Or sitting something out.
Okay.
I was once in a yoga class where a woman straight up went to sleep.
It's awesome.
Like pretty early on, just went right into corpse pose and went to sleep. And it's like, this is your nap time, actually, and I love this for you.
That's wonderful. There was, my wife was telling me about a time she was there last year and a woman during the class was clipping her toenails on the mat.
That's horrific.
Which is like,
oh my God.
I'm not, again, like societally, don't be clipping your toenails in public, but also like from like a woo-woo sort of like spiritual aspect. Like, how dare you do that in the fucking... like the space where we're all supposed to be like communing with the energy of the earth.
I mean, I almost admire it. I almost admire it.
Almost?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the toenail lady was doing a different kind of podcast. Who knows? Where she was exposing herself to her fear of having toenails.
Exposure therapy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so nobody is clipping their toenails in yoga class for this podcast yet. But I do think what we're doing here is kind of a form of exposure therapy. Did Mattie have a great time at yoga? I don't know. But what did happen is she got herself to a place where she's a little less afraid of going to a class. And the big change, now she knows that she wants to keep coming back and trying to get better. The focus has switched from I'm afraid of being seen doing this to I'd like to get better at doing this. That is a huge shift. Jury is still out on the truth about yoga with Adrian, but we'll stay tuned. Benji, bark twice if you need help.
And the curtain can't hide it when all the music quiets, 4 strikes and you're out. Photo booth, blood magic. Curtain can't hide it when all the music quiets, 4 strikes and you're out. Photo booth, blood magic.
Try Hard is a brand new show, so to help us grow, make sure to leave a review on your podcast app of choice, or tell a friend about the show now, like right now. Text them a screenshot. Try Hard is written, hosted, and produced by me, Alex Sujong Laughlin. Editorial support from Tom Lay, Brandy Jensen, Audrey Mardavich, and Jae Towle Vieira. Justin Ellis is Defector's projects editor. Art by Lille Allen. Our theme song is Photo Booth by Avery Friedman. Mixing by Samantha Gattsek. Jasper Wang and Sean Kuhn are Defector's business guys. Thank you to the rest of the Defector staff. Defector Media is a collectively owned, subscriber-based media company, and Try Hard is a proud member of Radiotopia. I'm Alex Sujong Laughlin, and until next time, don't be afraid to be seen trying.